Off top, the single-season record holder for blocked field goals in a season belongs to offensive tackle Bob Sinclair. Play music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show presented by Allstate. Throw your hands up. We're recording a little add-on because we saw the Chiefs play the Giants and they won, I guess. It's the first time this year that I felt cheated by football, and it didn't give me the joy. But to be fair, it was a wild and crazy Sunday. We'll get to the rest of the games, and it was fun. We got Bill acting a little goofy later on because I think we broke his brain with some of the takes. But this particular game, Patrick Mahomes is still being failed by the people around him. And even though the Chiefs won, it's hard to feel confident in this team going forward because they didn't really dominate against a team that no one thinks is a real competitor.
Dude, this felt like an XFL game. And like this is with a team that was in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And you had multiple passes thrown backwards. One where Mahomes stripped Akereke, who recovered the fumble. He had one that he threw backwards that Pacheco picked up and then threw forward, spiked into the ground.
We had Andy Reid and Travis Kelce bumping each other.
Yeah, Scadaboo became the starting running back, did like a pretty cool backflip celebration. Neighbors was completely uninvolved for the Giants. Very, very strange football game. And the Chiefs, they might be able to get it together and make the playoffs. We're not saying that this team can't win football games in the NFL, but something looks severely wrong with this offense.
I mean, I think that it's not a surprise. We didn't expect this offense to look solved, I don't think. So I guess it feels like if there is any news to come out of this game, it's got to be the conversation around what the Giants are going to do at quarterback, because Russ didn't look great in this game, coming off of his big 400-yard game against the most quarterback-friendly defense in the league, it would appear, the Cowboys. He struggled in this game, and it wasn't even a struggle. It was like looking kind of lost and just throwing up wish balls. But, yeah, I think that's the question. Does Jackson Dart get to play next week? I don't know if there's any question.
Andrew Thomas is back. Now go to Dart.
Yeah. I haven't learned anything about the Chiefs. I haven't had my mind changed about the Chiefs. I don't feel like there's any questions answered from this game about the Chiefs. It's just they still feel like they're the same Chiefs that are only scary because we've seen that jersey do amazing things before, but this team doesn't seem all that amazing right now.
Here's my question. The Cowboys are the Mendoza line of defenses in the NFL. Do you think the Chiefs could score against them?
Ooh. The Mendoza line means like that if they were under, they're worse. They're like below the Mendoza line. I don't feel all that confident.
It's so weird. Like, right? They have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in what should be his prime. And this offense is just feels like it's disintegrating. It feels tougher and tougher to watch every week. It's not just like, look, I'm sure the stats are the stats and beyond that, but just it's such a tough watch for a team that every week we expect them to snap out of it a little bit.
I mean, it didn't feel as though they were overwhelmed up front in the passing game, at least, but it still just doesn't feel like people are open. They're not creating separation. They still don't run the ball well. The offense is still just...
Yeah, Tyquan Thornton's their number one receiver.
That ain't a good sign, man. But I don't know. I feel like the point that I was making is that I don't think that there's much to take away from this game for the Chiefs. Like, they kind of performed in the way that we expected. We'll just see next week.
I guess we expect this now. Yeah.
I mean, you expected something different?
No, that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a wait and watch until they get back some playmakers and hope that those playmakers can change things, or that Worthy is healthy enough to impact the game when he's healthy, when Rashee Rice gets back from his suspension, that he's going to change the offense. But it does feel like they just are sleepwalking and can't do it. And I guess the biggest takeaway is Patrick Mahomes' level of frustration.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that jumps off the screen to me in all of the games so far this season, is that Patrick Mahomes just looks kind of pissed at everybody.
Oh, yeah. No, this is like the joy of the early Mahomes. Remember, Mahomes was fun in like the 2018 stuff? That's severely gone. It just looks like he is miserable playing offense on this football team right now.
All right, well, let's leave the misery and have some fun and welcome in Bill Barnwell. Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show, presented by Allstate. Throw your hands up. We are joined, as we always are on Monday, by the great Bill Barnwell. Good googly moogly. You look great.
This thing is juicy, Domonique Foxworth. This was a juicy Sunday. We got a lot of juicy games today.
Dude, this week was very juicy. I don't know if this is the start of the show. There's a good chance we are taping this at halftime of Chiefs Giants.
We anticipated not having to tape an add-on, but
this works perfectly because you know what the theme of our show is today, Bill? Surprise. This week was really surprising.
It was just a lot of surprises this week. I started it with a great surprise. Offensive tackle holds the record for blocked extra points and field goals. You didn't like that surprise?
Do you think Wemby could break that in a year if he played football?
Think we could break Wemby in a year if he played football. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Giannis? Is that a better one? Shaq?
Yeah, Giannis would be better.
Bob Sinclair was 6'9".
Yeah, well, Wemby's 7'5".
Was Bob Sinclair just like 6 inches taller than everybody else?
Yeah,
he was playing pro football.
Yeah, I think he played in like the 50s. So yeah. At 6'9", he was a giant.
Guess what? He's 8 inches shorter than Wemby.
Oh gosh.
The difference between Bob Sinclair and Baker Mayfield is the same difference between Bob Sinclair and Victor Wembanyama.
We had a juicy Sunday, and somehow we are in conversations about Bob Sinclair and Victor Wembanyama.
It's on you. That's on you.
It is on me. All right. Well, start the show, Chuck.
All right, let's go through it. All right, so we're going to start with the biggest games of the day. We'll go through all of them, but did today's surprise results in the Eagles-Rams, which was that was a crazy comeback. I thought that game was done at 26-7. I'll read you a text I sent at 26-7. And in the Packers-Browns game, which is, I don't know, one of the most shocking results of the year so far for the Browns to knock off the Packers, who look like world beaters, 13-10. Do those two games change who you think is the best team in the NFC?
I mean, I think I wanted to... Is it ridiculous to say, I think the Rams? I know they lost. I mean, the Eagles found a way to win, as they always do. Mm-hmm. The Packers had a very underwhelming showing. The Browns, maybe the Browns are the best team.
I have a follow-up on that. We'll get there.
Yeah. It's hard to make anything out of this collection of games because the most talented team and the most decorated and accomplished team is the Eagles. And they also won. And they are undefeated. So, it's incumbent upon us to continue to say that they are the best team in the NFC. But it don't be feeling like it, Bill.
No, you don't believe that, Dominique. That is not something.
It don't be feeling like it.
You would not say that with your chest.
I will not. I would not say that with my chest at all because I watched the football game from beginning to end and watched. We can talk about Jalen Hurts at some point, but also Jalen Carter. Was getting pushed off the ball in a way that was hard to watch. And the Rams were running the ball effectively. And Adoree Jackson got hurt, so they were attacking his replacement, Bennett. It just felt like a team that was once dominant without any flaws. The Rams kind of felt like they had their way with them, but they couldn't quite finish.
So then what do you attribute that to? If we're not going to give credit to the Eagles for winning
I gave them credit.
You did not give them credit. You did not give them credit. It's just the way that
they're so good. It's because I've seen how good they could be, and they aren't that right now, which is fine. It's early in the season.
That's a good point. That is the right way to put this.
Yes.
The Eagles can be the best team in the NFC and the best team in football and still feel like they're a fraction of what they were a year ago. But I guess the question I would ask you is, do you feel like, given what they have on their roster, given what you've seen from them for 3 weeks, they can hit those heights? Or was this sort of burst at the end? This little concentrated tiny bit of 2024 Eagles we got at the end of this game, the best they can do over the course of a full 60 minutes?
So to be clear, last year's Eagles would kick this year's Eagles.
Oh, but of course.
I do think that's the thing is there's no reason why they can't get back to that level. They have the players. I understand the offensive coordinator was a change. And I guess the other corner is an issue, but
Adoree Jackson.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that they no longer have Slay.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that the major changes, obviously Mekhi Becton was great in the middle, but I don't think that his absence is
Lane
really
Johnson got hurt.
Yeah, Lane Johnson got
hurt.
They're down
Dickerson's clearly banged up.
44% of their snaps from defense last year. It's not just Slay, it's Josh Sweat, Milton Williams.
Yeah.
Kobe Dean isn't playing right now, although Jahad Campbell, I think, has been fine. Brandon Graham retired. This is a much thinner version of this defense and the defense they had last year. And you can see, like, week 1, the Cowboys are picking on Adoree Jackson. Week 3, they were picking on Ja'Cory and Bennett. Like, there is a weak spot or several weak spots on both sides of the football right now that I don't think were there for them last year.
I mean, we should note that. So remember last year, all the panic about the Chiefs winning 1-score games and how it was portended something that was very negative about them. Through 3 weeks last year, the Chiefs were plus 13. Through 3 weeks this year, this Eagles team is plus 14. Very similar. I mean, look, it's a very small sample size. I don't know if you can take that much from it. Though the thing that you're focusing on the defensive side of it, and like I do want to give the funniest thing about this Eagles team is it's just the way that it looks offensively that we don't give credit to. Like if Mahomes or Allen or Jackson did the type of thing where they came back from 26-7 and had this really rough first half and exploded in the second half, we would think that, like, of course, those guys did it. Hurts did that, but the thing that's frustrating is it feels like this Eagles offense only throws the ball when they absolutely need to, and they don't involve A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith in the offense unless they absolutely need to. And then you see A.J. Brown, and he looks like the best player on the field. And I need to ask you guys, why do they do this? Like, why do they play this brand of football? I know they won a Super Bowl, but like, it's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, and Saquon isn't performing the way that they would,
That's the
or
thing.
the way that we expect.
58 carries, 194 yards in the season, 3.3 yards per attempt.
Right. Like that's the issue, is that nothing wrong with leaning to the run when you have 2024 Saquon Barkley, the guy who lit up the Rams last year for what, like 400 yards?
457 yards.
457 rushing yards in 2 games against the Rams last year. I would lean into the run too, but if you're not hitting explosives, if you're averaging like 3.5 yards a carry, that's not a sustainable offense. And we saw it the first couple weeks of the year because they weren't running the ball effectively. It came down to tush push and the occasional completion when they needed one. And like, we've seen this happen before, right? Like even last year, we had stretches where Jalen Hurts was not throwing the ball a ton, but the difference was the defense was so good and the running game was so good that they were able to cover up the fact that they did not consistently throw the football effectively. And now it feels like they need Jalen Hurts. They need A.J. Brown. They need Devontae Smith. And they didn't realize they needed those guys until it was almost too late. And then those guys came and bailed them out and beat what was probably the better football team of the two on the day.
Yeah, but I mean, I think so. We've gone too far into the show to not at least appreciate, like, the reason why I kicked off the show with the block field goal stat is because Jordan Davis is only 8 blocks away from tying Bob Sinclair because he had 2 blocks in this game, and the last one was just the coolest shit. Like, it's one of the coolest ways you could end the game where Jordan Davis gets the block. And underrated, Ja'Cory Harris, incredible block on the kicker to free up Jordan Davis to scoop it and score. That's really cool way.
Jordan Davis is the heaviest player in NFL history to return a blocked field goal, 50 plus yards for a TD. And also he got clocked, according to Next Gen Stats, at 18.59 miles per hour on that. He looked like like an electronic refrigerator that had wheels on the bottom of it, moving very fast.
That's an odd analogy. You
I don't know.
Analogize somebody to a refrigerator. No one's ever done that before.
It's good point. not that creative.
He modernized it, made it electronic.
It's electronic because they weren't electronic in 85.
Maybe this is something that just is added.
You turn the crank,
look at him going. It's the ice box.
So this is back in your day. This is one of those things that you might not get targeted ads for, but I do.
But for electronic refrigerators?
No, they're like these scooters that you can ride that are also coolers. They're like
those,
fridges that you can ride around.
I've seen people do that, and I am ashamed of them when I see it. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, that's what popped into my head.
All right. I think we've celebrated them enough. Let's go back to hating on them. They are I think you're right. They're the best team. Well, you didn't say they're the best team. I want to point out that what I have a hard time with, and Charlie is alluding to this, is when things are like confirm your priors, it's really hard for me to get away from it. And so, like, my biggest concern in this season was Jalen Hurts addressing the blitz, because that was the big issue when he lost his coordinator last time. And he still doesn't seem to have that particular part of the game under control. And that's concerning for a quarterback who likely is going to get blitzed a lot, and they don't have this big explosive running game. And then they get bailed out by the fact that A.J. Brown is just one of the best receivers in football that is also incredibly well rested, and just throw him the ball on 2 plays on that game-winning drive. 2 plays on a game-winning drive where they just throw him a short pass, and he takes the DB, throws him aside, and goes and gets 20-plus yards.
He's been sitting in that digital icebox on the sidelines, just getting ready for these moments.
Cooling it.
Nice and refreshed. A.J. Brown. Here's why I think we're discounting it. Like, all we saw on Sunday happened. All that stuff is meaningful. And we know A.J. Brown there is there. We know DeVonta Smith is there. We know all those things are still true. But it doesn't feel like they solved anything. It doesn't feel like, oh, they're going to go back week 4, week 5 and know, hey, we should get A.J. Brown involved earlier in the game. We should get DeVonta Smith involved earlier in the game. We're going to have answers for the blitz. We're going to have an offensive coordinator we feel good about. It just kind of felt like the sheer talent of those guys overcame an infrastructure or a coaching staff or a scheme that isn't really up to their talents. And that's been a common thread for most of the last few years, outside of maybe a little bit of a stretch last year with Kellen Moore. That's the part that concerns me, is it doesn't feel like we're going to be heading into next week and feel like, oh, Kevin Patullo, he's good. We figured it out. We have no worries anymore. It feels like this team is going to be underwhelming in the weeks to come as well, even though they have all this talent on the offensive side of the football.
On the Eagles, we can move to the Rams and the Packers after this. Mm-hmm. And this just shows how much things have changed since February. If the Eagles were playing the Chiefs and it was in the 1 p.m. slate, would that make your 4 multi-view box on Sunday ticket?
Of course it would.
No, it would not. You're a liar. It would be utter slop and you wouldn't want to watch it.
Is Spencer Rattler playing on a different channel? Because if he is, I'm going to see some stuff I never saw before. He is this year's Will Levis. That is like it's going to be dirty and maybe a little inappropriate for children, but I'm going to watch it for sure.
So you're saying I need to watch more Rattler? It'll yum my yuck.
We could use this as a transition to talking about the Rams a little bit. The thing that shocked me the most about them, again, focusing on the running game that in this game wasn't working, was entering this game as a coach. If I'm looking at where I want to attack this opposing defense, like I got 2 Pro Bowl level receivers, and the Rams don't got the corners to match up. Mm-hmm. And I would assume that their defensive front is where like they're invested in, where they're relying on to play well to keep them in the game. And they just didn't approach it that way. But that was tough watch for the Rams secondary in the most important moments in the game, where it's just like, all right, I didn't feel confident, I guess. It's like if the sack didn't get there, or if the blitz didn't get there, or the pressure didn't get there, I was like, oh, Rams going to be in trouble.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the reality of how they built their roster. These are the 2 teams spending the least of anybody on defense, and they both have a lot of promising young players, especially on the line of scrimmage. But of course, the Eagles have 2 really good young cornerbacks, and the Rams have Emmanuel Forbes, who the Commanders got rid of after 1 year, after the Ron Rivera regime ended. And the Eagles just played a game of let's find Emmanuel Forbes and pick on him, because we have 2 freaks at wide receiver, and these guys don't have freaks at cornerback. And, you know, that's a working strategy if you can pass protect. So I just think they got to the right answer. It just took them kind of a while to get there.
I mean, this has been said ad nauseum, but that's literally what ended Emmanuel Forbes' Washington career, was A.J. Brown. It ended it in like week 3.
It's not really a fair fight, though, is it?
Yeah, he's like the smallest.
Flat Stanley.
Yeah.
Who was the guy from the up top?
Oh, Bob Sinclair.
Yeah.
That's like a Bob Sinclair versus, defensive tackles from the 60s matchup, Emmanuel Forbes and A.J. Brown.
On the other game, so we're talking about the best teams from the NFC, Packers-Browns. What happened to the Packers today? I mean, I know what happened. They lost 13-10. Jordan Love was pressured relentlessly.
There it is. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, I think, it's the D-line. The Browns' defensive line was incredible. Mm-hmm. I watched all of the dropbacks again, and I had a hard time finding plays where he just was comfortable in the pocket. And their answer to it was screens, but the Browns defense was fast. And as a team with a good defensive line and a team that likes the blitz, you are accustomed to screens. It was just felt like if it wasn't a screen, he was under pressure. Jordan Love was under pressure immediately. And then the interception was an incredibly disguised, like it looked like a 0, but they went to like a 1-hole situation and robbed that inside slant. They just outplayed them defensively, out-physicaled them, outsmarted them, and it felt like, at least in that matchup. On the other side of the ball, a little different.
Well, on that side of the matchup, the Packers have been hitting teams with chunk plays downfield all year, right? The first 2 games of the year, Jordan Love averaged, I think, more air yards than anybody else in football, like 11 maybe air yards per throw, hitting stuff downfield over and over and over again because they pass protected and they were not in situations where teams could run their exotics, run their blitzes and trick them. And that was not the case in this game. Jordan Love averaged a little over 1 air yard per throw in this game. It was a lot of screens, like you said, a lot of short stuff, a lot of quick game because they couldn't protect him. They lost Zach Tom, their starting right tackle, on the first snap of the game. They lost Aaron Banks after halftime, who also was coming back from an injury. Those guys missed week 2, but the thing that's missing for the Packers right now, even through this 2-0 start, is they can't run the ball. Josh Jacobs was not good in this game. He had fewer than 2 yards of carry, probably got away with a fumble that I think the Browns recovered, or at least had a decent shot at recovering on that final drive before the blocked field goal. If you can't run the ball and you can't pass protect, you're not going to do anything on offense.
Yeah.
Like you got to be able to do something. And so, I think the Packers were not in a positive game script here. They were not up by 2 scores early, so they couldn't, pin their defensive linemen and their linebackers' ears back and run all their sim pressures and fun stuff and rush after the quarterback. It was close the entire game. Packers couldn't run the ball to close it out. And then they committed 10 penalties in the fourth quarter of this game, which I think is tied for the most of any team in the last decade. So left the door open and the Browns just plowed right through.
Worth noting also, Mason Graham had a 43% pass rusher win rate against the Packers today. Average for a defensive tackle is 9%. That's pretty good.
Myles Garrett was unbelievable also.
Yeah.
Michael Parsons had very little impact on the game, but he also is unblockable, and you could see him winning. They were prepared for it.
This might be crazy, but after 3 weeks, I still think it's probably the Ravens offense has been the most impressive single unit I've seen in the NFL. After that, is the Browns defense the most impressive unit you've seen so far this year? They're playing in a terrible game script most of the time. The offense is like, get back out there, guys. Stop them again. And they kept it close for 2.5 quarters with the Ravens. They looked awesome in week 1. They look awesome in this game defensively.
I think we got to think of another award to give them. It's like the most heart or something, because
you've talked about this
they
by week 10
points last week.
Yeah, but it was an impressive.
It was there's different.
It was a good 34 points, no question.
It was a good 34. Yeah,
just like you're criticizing the Eagles' comeback, I'm choosing to praise the Browns giving up 34 on defense.
The week after Derrick Henry was untacklable.
Were you guys hyping up the Eagles' comeback and I missed it? What are we talking about?
I thought they were great.
Me too. Everyone knows me and Dominique, noted Eagle lovers.
Jalen Hurts lovers.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Water.
Water ice. Ooh, speaking of Philly, I watched that show Task.
Sick.
Oh, only football today, though.
Yeah,
only
sorry,
football. We
sorry,
talk about Task. We talk about Task on Wednesday. Watch Task, Bill. It's a good show.
To put a bow on this first topic, did today's results functionally change how you think about any of these good teams, the Packers, Eagles, and Rams? Because I think we can still agree that that's the top of the NFC still.
Watching the Packers' offensive line get beat down like that was something that surprised me. So, knowing that that's on the table, I know that not everyone has the front that the Browns have, but it was something that I didn't think was on the table because it was bad. It was bad. I'm sure there were a couple plays where Jordan Love wasn't under pressure, but in my quick rewatch of all of their dropbacks, it felt like if it wasn't a screen, he had a giant man in his face, and that's tough.
Yeah, just big old lump of whoever you like. Like there's those 3 teams on each week. One of them might look like the best. I thought the Packers before this, because of who they played and how dominant they were, they had pulled away. Now it feels like they're back in the pack. Like even though the Niners are 3-0, like I don't think the Niners are the best team in the NFC, especially if Nick Bosa's out for any period of time. But I think make a case for the Packers, make a case for the Eagles, still make a case for the Rams. I don't think the Rams are out just because they lost in this game. I feel like it is much more muddled than I thought heading into this week.
They lost in this game with terrible end of drives and 2 blocked field goals. And ended up losing.
And Sean McVay being a coward, not going forward and fourth downs, being conservative.
Yeah, and getting those field goals blocked.
Let's pivot to the other conference. Or continuing our theme. More surprising AFC South team, the 0-3 Texans or the 3-0 Colts?
I have to say that is the Texans because I believed before the season in Indiana Jones and that roster and that offensive line and the improvement on the defense. Also, Tyler Warren, man, that guy is great. But to answer your question, it's the Texans, because I knew that their offensive line had not been addressed. But I guess I had hoped that maybe the offensive coordinator change or something, and recognizing that it was a problem last year, they would approach this better, play action, have some success, not run on every first down. But this offense looks worse this year than it did last year so far, because again, they can't keep the people from running in the quarterback's face. Like, there's just so many quick pressures in this game.
I'll go with the Texans side of things first. I think the Colts are the more surprising team, because even you, Domonique Foxworth, who was so excited about the Colts, probably because Jeff Saturday told you to be excited about the Colts.
That was my theory too. He denies it.
Yeah.
It definitely
This team
Haters.
wasn't even sure they were going to start Daniel Jones until like a week or two before the season. And now
that's when I decided they were going to be good
in the NFL. So they're going to be better than they were with Anthony Richardson. That's for sure. The Texans did address their offensive line. They just didn't do a good job of addressing it. They just swapped out all the dudes and just brought in some new dudes no one else wanted. And that did not solve their problems. It's even worse this year, though, because last year, when I would watch them play, the offensive line would be a disaster. They couldn't run the ball. Obviously, their like 4 defensive stars are incredible, but they would get bailed out by CJ Stroud. Week after week, not every week, but a lot of weeks when they would win games, it was because CJ Stroud would bail them out with a great throw or a great read, or he hit 1 or 2 big passes, or he would make a great play. CJ Stroud looks broken this year. Like, it looks like he is the guy who is worn down beyond just how bad the offensive line is and how bad the run game is. And I mean, like, in different possessions in this game, I tweeted this at 3:00, so there was still another hour of this game left. And I would bet there was more situations like this. On different drives, they faced 3rd and 12, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 22. Like, that has to wear on you after a while if you're CJ Stroud, because your offensive line can't pass protect in those spots. You have one receiver who can get open. You have an offensive coordinator who's not giving you answers, and you're getting the hell beat out of you. And he missed throws in this game, made some bad decisions in this game. It feels like he is now at the point where he is actively regressing because the infrastructure around him has been so terrible for over a full season.
This is kind of the blueprint for like how to ruin the rookie quarterback window situation, because we all were like, this is the best situation immediately after CJ Stroud's rookie season. It was like, man, young.
So we're happy they were going all in, it felt like.
Yeah, and they had a young, talented quarterback, and it seemed like they were going all in, and somehow ever since then, it's gotten progressively worse. They are in real bad shape right now, it would appear, because you're right. Like, having CJ Stroud regress on top of not being able to run the ball and not being able to protect him, like, can't ruin the start that you had in the defense. As much as I love how physical and aggressive this defense is, like, it feels like they miss so many tackles. It drives me a little crazy because they're so fast and physical and smart on defense. Like, they lost that Bucs game because they missed tackles in that game. And in this one, too, it's just like so many missed tackles.
Yeah. No,
against the Jags, too. And to be fair, the Jags were desperately, in every possible way, trying to hand this game to the Houston Texans. They were begging the Texans to take this game. And when they turned the ball over and Nico hit that like 50-yard touchdown, I was like, okay, the Jaguars are absolutely screwed. They're blowing this game. The Texans are going to come back and win it. And then the Texans still lost it. It was incredible to see how little regard these teams had for trying to win against your division rival.
It was, it was total slop. I mean, you could feel like the utter disgust coming off of Liam Cohen seeing after the interception that Trevor Lawrence threw late in that game. And I mean, this is just such a lesson. Domonique, if you were to take a lesson from how they messed this up, the big acquisitions last year for the Texans, it was Diggs, it's Joe Mixon. It was not addressing the interior offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, it's we talk about it here all the time, and whether you think I don't know where you think my influence comes from, but like I feel like if I'm gauging an offense after how good is your quarterback, it's how good is your offensive line. All that other stuff, it's the classic Sewell versus Chase meme, which obviously that meme itself is kind of stupid, but like fundamentally the concept behind it is pretty fair. It's like, if you can't protect the quarterback, it doesn't matter what you have on the outside. And the problem is they also they got Nico Collins. And that's the only
he's awesome.
That's the only blue chip player that they have to be able to rescue them. And they throw it to, I think he had 11 targets in this game and 8 catches. He is awesome and over 100 yards, but that's never going to be enough.
There's a lesson I think you're missing here, and it's honestly a lesson that may apply to another team that is very close to the hearts of people doing this show. You got to keep your draft picks. When you trade a bunch of your draft picks, when you are not in position to stock your roster with young talent around your young quarterback, you're going to miss out. You're going to be flailing. You're going to be going out and getting guys who are not necessarily at the best point of their careers, guys who you're going to be relying on in meaningful roles you don't trust. When the Texans decided our entire offensive line sucks and we need to start over, look at the guys they got. They signed Cam Robinson, who was a disaster in Minnesota and Jacksonville last year. They signed guys who are not especially effective. Jake Andrews from the Patriots, who did get hurt, to be fair. But, they had to rely on guys who did not have great pedigrees because they didn't have a ton of draft capital. They traded up for Will Anderson. They traded picks for Stephon Diggs. They traded picks for, they traded a 7 for Joe Mixon, I think. They're a team that actually went out during the GM summit and said, yeah, when guys are going to get cut, we like trading day 3 picks for them. It helps us cut the line. That's not a good philosophy. You need those picks. And so I think when we watch the Commanders, who, to be fair, got to play one of the worst teams in football today, you need to hold on to those picks. Just landing that quarterback is not the end of the conversation. It's the beginning of the conversation.
The counter I'd say to that is I do think Will Anderson actually
he's great.
He exceeded what we thought he was going to be at that draft slot. Some people thought that was a reach at 4 because he was 240 pounds playing on the edge, and he was obviously super twitchy at Alabama, but I think he's even better than we thought he was going to be. So part of that one, second most important position draft capital wise in football. They got him.
Even though you made a smart decision and you added a player who you feel really good about at a key position, you're still giving up a ton. You're still having to
trust me. I'm not defending the Texans. I was just saying that defending that selection. So let's talk about the Colts side of it. I'm going to try and put very deep in my mind that the idea that the Commanders will have blown their window by not having draft capital. You're not going to get me, Bill. Colts side of it. So do you remember when we started doing these Sunday night shows? I think every single week, that was during the Kirk Cousins Minnesota year when we were just hammering point differential. This team's not actually good. Look at the point differential. Look at the point differential. The interesting thing about the Colts is they're 3-0, and yes, some of the teams they've beaten are not good teams, but they beat the Broncos. They might be good. 2 of the 3 teams they've beaten, they're not very good. But they're averaging 34 points a game. They're 425 yards a game, and they are taking care of business in really definitive ways and beating the brakes off of bad teams. Is that more surprising to you than anything, that they're actually the way they're taking care of business?
I mean, I think I understand why people wouldn't be high on them coming into the season, but I think
it's just the exact opposite of what we think of the teams that we would.
Right, but I think given what we've seen in the games, I don't think it's as surprising. They aren't winning in fluky ways. Well, I guess the penalty at the end of that Broncos game doesn't feel particularly straightforward. But I think the Broncos are a good team. They're competitive against them. My point is they running the ball well with Jonathan Taylor. If you can run the ball well, that makes life a lot easier for everyone else in the organization, from the quarterback to the defense. So I guess that's what I mean by it doesn't feel fluky. Of course, there one play that field goal could have gone in or that penalty could have saved them. The result itself of that game doesn't matter as much as when I watch them play offense, it feels like an offense that has a philosophy and has a strength and has a coordinator and a quarterback that can make consistently good decisions and accurate passes.
Amazing stat from Jim Aiello. Daniel Jones and the Colts have now scored 103 points in their first 3 games. No Indianapolis-era Colts team has ever done that. 3 Peyton Manning teams got to 100, but never eclipsed 101.
I do think we can reevaluate what we thought about the Colts and the players around the quarterback before the year, right? I mean, when I was doing my playmaker rankings before the season, I looked at the playmakers and I'm like, man, I like all these guys, but I know the numbers have not been there. I know Anthony Richardson's part of that, but how much could he really be holding back Alec Pierce? How much could he really be holding Michael Pittman? The answer is a hell of a lot. They all look so much better with Daniel Jones in the fold. And I think they have such a Robert Mays was talking about this on my podcast or on the Athletic Football Show when I was on with him. It's like such a complementary group of players as well. Like they have the burner in Pierce. They have the great slot receiver in Downs. They have a more physical, bigger player in Pittman. They have such a wide range of skills. And I think a coordinator does get a lot out of them, and they can run the hell out of the football. Like Jonathan Taylor, is it fair to say he's been the MVP or something close to the MVP through the first 3 weeks of the season?
And you left off my man Tyler Warren, who is a matchup nightmare. It feels like the athleticism that he has, that tight end that he got from Penn State, has been awesome too. But to your MVP question, sure, why not? 3-game MVP, give it to him. He's not going to get it at the end of the year because he doesn't have enough passing touchdowns, but he might be the MVP.
I'll stand up for Lamar.
Yeah, I mean,
get out on that limb, Charlie.
No one ever gives him MVP credit.
I'll tell you what.
Need to do it on this show.
Next week, they play the Los Angeles Rams. If they can run on the Rams, if they can move the ball on the Rams, I'm with you. But not yet.
Well, just let me enjoy my week, man. Let's talk about that on Sunday. I'm going to celebrate my Colts up until then, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. I'm act a fool if they beat the Rams, though.
It's great. All right, guys, get your hands up. It's time for your Good Hands plays presented by Allstate. Today, we're recognizing Caleb Williams.
Ooh.
Were you guys surprised at all by his breakout game against this Cowboys defense? Caleb looked awesome.
You mentioned the fateful words, Charlie.
Cowboys defense.
Cowboys defense. Russell Wilson has looked like he is about to expire in the 2 games that aren't against the Cowboys defense, and he looked like he was a decade younger against the Cowboys. I'm more optimistic on Caleb heading into this game than I think most people, although I think when a lot of people, I know Nate Tice, JT O'Sullivan, Ted Wynn, a lot of the film nerds who I love and respect, when they watched Caleb, when I watched Caleb, that week 2 game, the numbers were not great against the Lions. I thought he was fine against the Lions. I don't think he was the problem. And so facing a Cowboys team that might have the worst defense in the NFL, Caleb looked great because they were not going to give him the same problems that the Vikings did or the Lions did through the first 2 games of the year.
Yeah, a number of guys running free. Caleb hit him. Like Diggs slipped on one. The touchdown.
Diggs the touchdown maker.
Kyrie Elam appeared to be mind controlled on the flea flicker for a second touchdown.
Yeah, the flea flicker brought out the trick plays. I mean, I think to your point, it's hard evaluating quarterback play. I think that Caleb put up great numbers in this game and they won, so it should be celebrated. I don't want to be critical of Caleb, but I don't think that anything that he did in this game made me feel like, oh my gosh, we're finally beginning to see like the full fruition of what Caleb Williams can be. It's like there was one really impressive layered dig over the middle that was stupid level accuracy and anticipation. And then there were a couple of them where the accuracy was completely nowhere. And it seems like Ben Johnson has simplified a lot of the concepts. It felt like they were running levels often and just finding different, more interesting ways to get to it. It's like, we know you like this play. We know you can handle this half-field situation. Let's find a way to get our in levels. We're going to play action and levels them.
You know what? That got the Colts to 100 points 3 times with Peyton Manning at quarterback. You can run levels all you want if it works.
Oh, yeah. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying from a Caleb Williams evaluation stage, is like it does feel like he is at least the last couple weeks playing at like a starter level. But number 1 overall, highest touted quarterback since, I guess,
Trevor Lawrence.
Since Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a great comp today.
Yeah, but as a prospect. We're talking as a prospect.
Right. But we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And what we do see, though, is still see glimpses of it. 1, with that throw, and 2, he just feels like I think the word you would use, Charlie, is twitchy as an athlete. Is watching him run the ball.
He's powerful.
Yeah, and watching him scramble. And also they ran a few more design runs with him where it's just like, he was a really good athlete, which is going to help.
Those are all positives. Like, I think it's not, we shouldn't be sitting here saying, okay, Caleb Williams is fixed. He's now the guy Bears fans were dreaming about. But the fact that we got 1 positive game, we got 1 sign that he might be really good, I think it's 1 more than we got last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I wanted to guard against, is because he had almost 300 yards, 298 and 4 touchdowns. I think that I don't want to say I want to be clear. Like, it's a good game. He played well. But those are numbers that might make you think that,
well, it's also like he had a 41-yard screen pass.
The lockdown defender, Domonique Foxworth, defending against anyone who might think Caleb Williams is good. He's got you.
No, it's not that I don't want you to think he's good. It's that I don't want to come across as saying like he's fixed and it's done. Like I would hate for our buddy Jason Goff to watch this podcast and be like, oh, finally got my guy. Like, no, he's
walk down the street happy, just thrilled.
Don't be happy, Jason.
Just do
don't be happy.
It's like, this is when we need the famous coward clip of Ben Simmons with LeBron.
Hey, Bron, we're good.
Patrick, we're good here. We got we got Caleb now.
No, we're not good. We're not good.
No. I mean, look. If you wanted to be a detractor, you talk about the flea flicker, you talk about the screen pass, you talk about the scripted early stuff where Ben Johnson.
But we don't want to be detractors.
We don't, because what I would say is he looked extremely powerful, extremely athletic, and the flashes of that throughout that game show you that I think he's going to figure it out. I actually do. I think that there's a good chance that we'll look up at season's end, and it's not going to be even. It's not going to be a finished product, but I think we'll feel a lot better about the talent coming to fruition after 17 games in Ben Johnson's system. And this being the first one we put it together for more than a couple drives is incredibly encouraging.
And for Bears fans, that's a success. Like, that is what you are hoping to see. I know that you want it now and you want to be a really good playoff team now. This defense is not going to be supporting a playoff team there. I thought they were going to be a playoff team. I am wrong. They are not going to be a playoff team this year. I did too. But this was a game where they averaged 3 yards a carry. It wasn't like it was, they're just running over the Cowboys and Caleb just didn't play action and there's just wide open spaces because the Cowboys can't stop the run. Like, he was the guy driving the offense in this game and did a really good job at doing it. So I think we should be optimistic. We don't need to say guarantee. We don't need to feel like it's a finished product, but I think this is a sign that kind of some of those improvements we saw under the hood for Caleb in terms of where he was operating, going through his progressions last week against the Lions, you saw that manifest into bigger plays and more successes against the Cowboys this week.
All right, let's move on to let's move back to the AFC. Sticking with our theme of more surprising AFC West team, the 1-2 Broncos, who guys like Bill Barnwell said were Super Bowl contenders, or the 3-0 Chargers.
I'll let Bill start because he's coming for you.
I didn't say you. I said guys like you. Your ilk.
Oh, your ilk. He's coming at your ilk.
Me, who came on the Domonique Foxworth show,
that's this show
that you are on, and I said Sean Payton would drive Bo Nix to the airport if
that
he could have May as his quarterback.
That's a good
Did
point.
I not say that on this show? I said the Broncos are a Super Bowl contender?
No, you got to get your ilk under control because I take this back.
All the nerds hate Bo Nix.
First of all, Charlie, on behalf of Charlie, I'm sorry.
Yep, my bad. My bad, Bill.
However, your ilk kind of likes the Broncos. Your ilk loves the Broncos. All of your ilk love the Broncos.
We're moving the ilk aside. This is a small tent this year. I can't be held accountable for every analytics person on social media.
Fair point. It's just you. So we agree with you. Charlie is so happy right now that he has an analytics guy on his side. But I think
we did it, Joe.
I think I'm more surprised by the Chargers because I think I believed in how important Rashawn Slater was, and I was less optimistic about the ceiling of this defense. I thought it would be, which it kind of does have, it ebbs and flows, but the overall result has been really good. But they gave up the big plays, but I think the big takeaway from this game was Justin Herbert is so damn good, man. That touchdown he threw at the end is just really impressive, and it's very few guys. I guess Josh Allen might be, maybe Lamar could do it in a different way, but Josh Allen is the only other quarterback that I think is capable of throwing incredibly accurate. And Allen made a great catch, but throwing incredibly accurate pass like through a man, which was absurd. So yeah, I walk away from this game more surprised by the Chargers being 3-0. Like, I would have thought that they would have dropped one of these games to the Chiefs or something like that than I do with the Broncos slipping to 1-2.
They tried. They were a little sloppy in this game, to be fair. I think they got a little lucky. Bo Nix.
I thought they were better, though. Like, I think you're right. They got a little lucky, but I guess in watching the game, I thought the Chargers were the better team.
I think they were too, but if Bo Nix hits like one of those 3 long completions where he has guys open for potential touchdowns and misses all 3 of them, it's a different story. And like Bo Nix did have a big throw on 4th down for a touchdown. And the thing I keep coming back to with the Chargers and the Broncos, 2 teams that I think are probably pretty close to one another in terms of their overall talent. I think the Broncos are a little better on defense. Chargers maybe have a little more talent on offense. I recognize it was a Chargers home game. To be fair, it sounded like it was 80% Broncos fans. Mm-hmm. Do you think there is a single person in that stadium, including Sean Payton, who would have rather had Bo Nix as their quarterback for the rest of the season than Justin Herbert? A single person in that stadium. The answer is no.
I think Sean Payton could pass a lie detector, but
absolutely not.
I think he would be lying, but he could defeat a polygraph. Sean Payton strikes me as the type of guy that could beat a polygraph.
Bill, I do need to give your ilk some credit on Herbert.
Uh-oh.
You held the line, and you were right.
And Herbert didn't put up.
So confused about who my ilk are and what our stance
so
is.
I'll be transparent with you about Charlie. Is that they were the trendy kind of hipster pick to win their division and potentially compete. And the more something becomes trendy, the more Charlie hates it and wants it to fail. So he didn't really have a strong position on the Broncos until it felt like a lot of people were like, hey, the Broncos going to take over the division. Then all of a sudden, Charlie is looking up all these ways to hate on Bo Nix. And
that's right.
And now he was celebrating rooting against him.
You could just watch Bo Nix or look at the numbers from last year, which is what I did. And I came to the conclusion he's the 20th best quarterback in football, which is fine. You could go to the playoffs with that guy. But man, you would, I don't want to say anything mean about him. You would really rather have Justin Herbert as your quarterback. And this game reinforced that.
Sean Payton is a good play designer and a good sequencer, and I think that he only, from a strategy standpoint, and I talked about this with Mina on our last show about how I love the Chargers defense, but they give up too many big plays, and those opportunities were there in this game. I saw that Sean Payton, you could feel his desperation. We were used to say like teams who run a lot of trick plays are kind of desperate. They feel like they're outmatched. What I noticed what Sean Payton was doing was he was calling shot plays on short yardage situations where it's like 3rd and 1. He's like, all right, we have a chance. We know what coverage they're going to be in. We cannot just try to get this first down. It's 4th and 1, and we're going flea flicker, going play action bombs over Baghdad. He recognized, and this is to your point about he would drive him to the airport, is he recognizes his quarterback's limitations. He has no desire in like asking him to consistently make good decisions and throw accurate passes. He's like, look, you throw this screen pass or you throw the all the way down there for a touchdown.
He's playing 3-card Monty with his quarterback. And you can do that. And
I was wondering what that was.
Mess it up and win 9 games. But the Chargers don't have to play 3-card Monty with Justin Herbert. Yeah. They could he's just the dealer who's going to just wait for you to make a mistake and then have more money than you and outbid you. I don't know. This metaphor got a little
it is. I
apologize.
Yeah.
3-card Monty was a good start though. Like he's able to, not put his quarterback in drop back situations all the time. But you saw in this game against a good defense, when he was in 3rd and 10, the Broncos were terrified. They were not like, man, we're going to drop him back and he's going to find an open receiver and he's going to be able to work the drop back pass game. It's let's run a screen. Let's run a draw. Let's, we'll take our shots, like you said, in situations where the Chargers are not expecting it because we don't want him dropping back on 3rd and 10 if we can avoid it. And that's a hard way to live when you're playing a really good defense.
It does feel like a bit of an indictment of how they feel about him going forward, but he's good enough. And Sean Payton deserves credit for what he's doing with that. And that defense, man, it's still pretty excellent.
Still good,
I like watching.
But not,
oh my gosh,
not good enough though.
Yeah,
you can only cover so much. And I think is the tough part for them is that, like their schedule gets a lot tougher this year. They beat the Chiefs with Carson Wentz last year. But they had 1 win against a team with a winning record otherwise last season. They have a lot more games against teams who are going to have winning records this year. And it's going to be a lot more of, can Bo Nix actually hold his own in those games or is he going to make a mistake? And that's, I think, the problem.
Last one, more surprising NFC South team, the 1-2 Falcons or the 3-0 Bucs. And it's not because the Bucs are 3-0. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be really good coming into the season. It's because how they're 3-0 with how they've been decimated by injuries across their offense, including their offensive line, which no one's playing their actual position they were signed and rostered to play.
Aside from the offensive line shuffling, I would say that I still would be surprised at the Bucs being 3-0. I still think that's 3-0. That 3-0 is more surprising to me than the Falcons underachieving because the Falcons kind of do that.
Yeah.
The Bucs looking so like impressive and competitive and making comeback wins repeated. Like, is that 3? It's 3 in 3 weeks?
It's 3 2-minute drills against the Falcons, who we're trashing in the other half of this segment, the Jets, who almost beat them this week, and the Texans, who we trashed earlier in the show. Like, it's not like, but these are 3 very narrow wins against 3 teams we don't think are very good.
Fair point, but I still think that the way that they are winning these games is still like the I guess you can't give their defense a ton of credit for what they did against the Texans because the Texans are bad, but you can give their offense credit for leading that drive against a very talented Texans defense. Sure. I think 3-0 in the NFL is a reminder. Like this week, the theme of the show is surprises because it's a reminder because everybody in the NFL is talented. Like maybe all the teams' collections of talent do not add up to a good team, but week in and week out, you can get surprising games and competitive games. So like, I get it. Point differential over the course of an entire season matters. And if they only win these games by this margin going forward, then we can have that conversation. But I'm impressed with what Baker's done so far this season and what the Bucs have done. And the question is more surprise. You had higher expectations for the Falcons than you did based on their result than you did for the Bucs?
I did. I thought they were going to win the division. And to be fair, if they had made a stop, against Emeka Egbuka on that drive, they'd be 2-1 and the Bucs would be 2-1 and they'd be leading the division. So I don't think there's that big of a difference between these two teams. And I'm not even saying that from the point differential conversation, but we had a talk at the beginning of the show about the best teams in the NFC. We talked about
Bill. Don't Bill.
They got beat 30-0 by the Panthers. You can't say we can throw out point differential.
Yeah, we have to throw it out when your team lost.
Come on, man.
Charlie, I understand you and your ilk just want to focus on the numbers. Yeah. I am focusing on the vibes here.
It's an ilk off.
We talked about the Eagles, the Rams. Mm-hmm. Who else we talking about at the top of the show? Packers?
The Packers.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Did anybody bring up the Buccaneers, even though they're 3-0 as teams in that discussion? No, we didn't.
Fair point.
That answers everything you need to know about how you actually feel about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-0 or not.
I'm sick of your memory. It's a lot more fun to just make things up about what you said in the past and hype up the Bucs based on the vibes of that very cool game because Emeka Egbuka had 2 ridiculous catches and they only counted 1.
Did you see Aaron Glenn's celebration after they blocked
that? That was awesome.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
It was very like black frat. Like he looked like a Capper strolling down the sideline. It was awesome. I wish they would have held on to win. It'd been a lot more fun if they could have held on to win. But Baker is inevitable.
Believe it close. Baker's going to win it. And that's like, this is not a new thing. Like that part I do buy. Like if it is a close game, there's not a ton of people. I'm maybe more scared of Baker than like maybe 2 or 3 other quarterbacks in the league right now when it comes to that 2-minute drill. Like he's going to find somebody. He's going to scramble. Justin Herbert, obviously.
Are we subtracting taking the quarterback out of the situation? Or are you talking about an offense?
All of it.
No, because it feels like Baker is doing stuff. It's not like he's just hitting a superstar receiver for big gains over and over again. Like he's scrambling for stuff. He's hitting.
Right, I know that. I guess
Evans is out.
The point I was making is
he wants to ask about Lamar.
No. Oh, no. I was asking about Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't even think about him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Josh Allen for sure, and Justin Herbert. I think are the 2 guys I would take right now.
I would take Josh, Lamar.
But you're saying you would take those teams. If you had a team and you would take a quarterback.
In a vacuum?
You're leaving.
I'd still take him in a vacuum.
I hate vacuum talk. I
you brought up the vacuum talk.
I did say vacuum, though. I'm sick of it. I don't like vacuums. Get out of here with that. We're never getting in a vacuum again on this show.
If everything was equal, are you happy
There
with
we
that?
go. I like it. All things equal, which quarterback? Patrick Mahomes. You say anything else, you're lying.
No, of course. Yeah.
All right.
He's stuck in football Siberia.
So here's
now?
Ilk over here is about to say no. Yes, right now. All right. Thank you, Bill Barnwell, for almost saying the most offensive thing.
Why you end the pod before the best part of the pod? This is like, I want to hear what Bill has to say about why he doesn't.
Because he's not going to say it.
He's going to say it.
No, he won't.
You're not more scared of Josh Allen in a 2-minute right now than Patrick Mahomes? Come on.
Drive to save your life. The offense is the same. All the pieces of the offense are the same. give
I
you
get
one
4
man,
downs,
drive
I get
to
4
save
downs
your life.
with that freak. Yes, I'm taking Josh Allen right now. It's not even a question to me.
I got Iguodala.
Well played.
I'm taking Josh Allen too.
If
but also Iguodala.
if the aliens have the death beam aimed at us, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. But okay.
Do you really think he's still the best quarterback if all things are equal?
By the way, who are these guys on the Bills who are elevating Josh Allen where he's not going to be better off if he's on a different offense with different receivers?
They protect him for one. I mean, that's a
This man
start.
protects himself, and this
If you flip them-
good job protecting himself.
If you flipped Josh Allen and Mahomes, would the Chiefs be better and the Bills be worse?
Chiefs be better. I don't think the Chiefs would be better.
You don't think so?
So I guess you're
With
just
a water buffalo quarterback,
You're just. Well, I guess actually the way that Mahomes is playing now, Josh Allen would get more yards because Patrick Mahomes for 3 straight weeks, we're just through the first half of the game, he's tried to run people over. Like I feel like did you see it, Bill? Like there were 2 times last week. There was 1 time the week before that, and in this game, in the beginning of the game, he's trying to run people over.
Guy wants to be wearing sweats on the sideline, saying I got a cussy.
Trying to get a cussy. You can't give concussions a cute name. I don't like it. I don't like it. We need to go to bed.
I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah. No, that's because you don't spend enough time around Charlie. We were sitting in the green room before we came in here, and there was some lollipops. He's like, ooh, little shuggy. This man cutes up everything. Let me get a little shuggy. I think we're done.
That's cussy.
Thanks a lot, Bill Barnwell. You're the best. I appreciate you, even though you represent your ilk, and Charlie Kravitz. Appreciate you. Thanks to all the great producers that support us. I love you, Podville. Go Terps, beat Wisconsin. This has been the Domonique Foxworth Show presented by Allstate.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.